Scurrius. I'm here to talk to you about my thoughts on the brand new addition to Old School's boss list, this little guy, Scurrius, and why I believe he's going to pave the way for new players to join the high-level community. After watching Jimmy's Gauntlet video with Settled, the part that stuck out to me was this.
First thing you want to do is just go straight into the boss room.
Alright, I'll find him. Got him.
Now you know what you're up against.
That's not too bad.
And I said, wow, what a clever way to approach new content with minimal risk to get the anxiety of the first death out of the way, probably. So that's what I did. I ran in naked, fighting how I could, and died. Easy peasy, right? The blog said I could take any combat gear, so I grabbed my range void, some food, some pops, a telly out, and headed to the lair. Just as a side note, Historian Aldo has a rat on his hat, and I can't seem to find the name, which basically makes this unplayable and dead content, but I digress. I go in private because I want to learn as much as I can and see what I can do by myself. Part of why I love this game so much is that you can get all of the bells and whistles to make endgame easier, but at the end of the day, it's just you versus the timer and whatever the boss is able to do. Everything is given to you in the game to beat the boss, so do it. The encounter starts the same way every time, just like how the Gauntlet always starts with ranged attacks. Curious. He also starts far from the entrance, which allows you to do equipment checks before committing to a run and burning supplies. From the start of the fight, you just pray against his melee attacks and avoid falling rocks that can hit up to 22! To seasoned players, 22 isn't that big of a deal, but it's a good thing to remember that later in the fight. Also, the same mechanics of avoiding dangerous tiles, like with the Archaeologists, Chaos Fanatic, Spindle, Ardio, Calvarian, Vorkath, Gauntlet, Volcano, just to name a few. After he gets down to about 80-ish%, he's gonna want a snack, and gorges himself with floor cheese. At this point, you can flick off Protect from Melee for a second and organize yourself, but don't close that prayer tab. At phase 2, he can do 4 things. He can attack with range, green, attack with magic, blue, do the rock thing, and summon da boys. This is arguably the most complained about ability Scurrius has, but I say,
actually, cringe. Just wear tankier gear Lamau XD.
But in seriousness, it's probably the biggest challenge for new players because it's probably the first time they've been hit through protection prayers. At high level, protection prayers turn more into resistance prayers. Some mobs, like Varrock and Necrials, will ignore prayer altogether. But say Hunlif from the hit show The Gauntlet will hit you 12 on prayer versus 50 plus off prayer. It's less about not getting hit and more of knowing you're gonna get hit and learning to eat and minimizing damage you're taking. Same goes with the boys. They can hit up to 4s off prayer, but it's reduced to a max hit of 1 on prayer. After Scurrius starts eating, he'll come over to join Da Boys in kicking the shit out of you. Because his melee attacks can hit 13s, you'll be inclined to pray melee anyways. At a certain point, he'll go back to his food, come back to Jojo you, and continue until phase 3. Phase 3 starts when Scurrius shits himself a little bit and runs to the center of the room. His attacks get faster, but you've already learned all of his stuff. Regardless, there's usually a reason why a boss's final phase is the hardest. Remember when I said the falling rocks aren't initially scary, but they will become scary? Of course this is a little different, but when I started this phase, I got flashbacks to solo phase 2 wardens from Tombs of Amascut. When learning TOA, I died a lot. I remember running up against the wall, dying over and over until I took a deep breath, fixed myself in my chair, shrimped up like a gamer, and dove in for the last time to complete my first solo TOA KC. Phase 3 starts with our boy in the center. He's able to do 4 attacks, ranged, mage, drop some bricks, and summon Da Boys. If Da Boys aren't already out, they're going to be, and I implore you not to focus on them. This is when the advice, eat when health low, forehead, will be echoing in your head while trying to stay calm. You've dealt with all of this before, you can do it. Now you're tanking 4s, prayer switching, you're almost there, but I feel like I'm forgetting something. 22s can be a lot of damage when you're under 22 health. This is what separates mid-level players from slightly higher mid-level players like myself. Part of the game is knowing what your enemy can do and knowing how to avoid it. Scurrius only has 4 things he can do, and all have simple ways to deal with it, but now they're happening all at once. It can be a lot to deal with. Math time, baby! If 4 boys are on you, they can hit 4s. That's a total of 16. Plus a missed prayer for mage, that's 8, so bring that up to 24. In a panic, you forget to move. Bricks bonk you for an easy 22, that's a total of 46 damage. That's a lot of damage! But you can move. That's only 24 damage. If the rats are overwhelming you, flick on Protect from Melee and tank the ranged mage hits. You can trap the boys behind Scurrius so fewer can attack you, so you can focus on prayer switching and rocks falling. Priorities are key when learning something new, and to help extend trips. When tanking a PKer in the wilderness, you generally have an idea of what they're gonna do. Use magic to freeze or trap you with teleblock, bolt you when your protect from magic is up so they can drop you to KO potential, and then finish you with a melee weapon, except Voidwaker, but don't talk to me. This isn't set in stone, but it is about situational priorities. Keeping your prayer up to prevent being smited to keep your gear, bringing a stamina so you can outrun them, keep HP up, knowing when you're frozen and focusing on getting your prayers right. Same goes with Scurrius. If the boys are too much, try to trap them behind Scurrius and turn on Protect from Melee. If you keep getting rocked, leave Protect from Melee up and notice his animations. If you keep missing prayers, bring more defensive gear to compensate. If the chip damage is too much, bring a tank set and put it on when you're getting overwhelmed. Run out of prayer? Bring more prayer pots. The opposite is true too. Taking too much food and not using it because you've gotten better? Bring less food. Maybe runes for alking for longer trips. Bones to Peaches tabs, a spec weapon like a blowpipe. This allows you to play the game like you want, and it gives you room to grow as a player. In my opinion, Scurrius is some of the best content the devs have released because it bridges the gaps between hellish RNG Mortyland Barrows and raiding, or other bosses you might not think you're ready for. You can even use Scurrius to practice other things, like kiting for Zilliana, bringing switches just to practice. Try rebuilding, get creative. Do combat achievements. There are combat achievements now. So why worry about dying a couple times when you learn so much about the game? Let it be a stepping stone to content that you never thought you would be able to do. But for now, thanks for watching. Like, sub, and I'll see you later.